But yeah, the third trimester is when it all starts to hit and you start to feel really heavy. And as other people have mentioned, it's, the middle of the summer. So
Yeah.
it's hot.
Hot.
But the glucose test was a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. We did that in 28, 29 weeks, and I passed that, so I was glad.
Yay.
Um,
Did you get gestational diabetes with any of your other children?
I didn't. No, I mean
That's good.
everything has, yeah, been pretty low risk there, I guess. But no, I do. They tested my blood sugar. They did my HbA1c, which is like the average of your blood sugar in my first trimester, and it looked good. And that's usually a pretty good indication that your risk is low. So I thought that was really great that our OB did that because that's kind of an odd thing for them to
Yeah.
do. So,
Yeah.
so the glucose test is great. People always complain about that sugary drink that they
The
drink, but
orange one?
is it
Yeah.
weird? Is it weird that I don't mind it? It tastes delicious.
You're like, this tasted like a bunch of Skittles.
I'm sorry, it is. It's literally sweet. It's so sugary. But they did it different this time because of COVID. Usually you go, you drink it, and you have to sit for an hour in the office, which is kind of the worst part. And then they test your blood sugar. They make sure you've processed that sugar well. If you're not processing it well, they come back and they test you again for like a 3-hour glucose test. And they're trying to rule out gestational diabetes. Every pregnant person gets it because gestational diabetes is dangerous for mom and for baby. So if you process that sugary drink well within that hour, then you're good to go. I would say this. So this time they sent it home with me at like my 24-week appointment, and it was like a
What?
dye-free one. So it wasn't orange, which is good. I usually like just like the dye-free, the clear drink instead. It's still
Yeah.
like 50 grams of sugar.
Oh
And
my God.
John, yeah, it's 50 grams of sugar
He,
in one sitting, which
he
is like
probably was like, hey,
he was
party.
jamming. I mean,
Yeah.
that's enough sugar for like 2 straight days and in a 15-minute time span.
Oh my gosh. I bet he was doing like somersaults.
So they gave it to me and they said, drink it on your way to your appointment. So I did. And I will say, like, it didn't feel like the safest to me because it did make me have like kind of blurred vision.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God, my sugar is so high right now.
And
I'm just
you
not
don't eat
used
much
to it.
sugar. Yeah, I was gonna say in
No.
general, we don't eat. Yeah.
And I will say, actually, I have clients who are like low carb eaters who eat really low carb,
Hmm.
and then they go to their blood sugar test and their glucose test, and they drink 50 grams of sugar and they don't pass it. So they have to come back and do the 3-hour test. And it's not that they are at risk. Of course,
What?
they have to rule it out, but their body is not used at all to processing 50 grams of sugar. And so if that's happened to you, it's probably because you are like a high protein, low carb eater. I eat a pretty balanced, like carb protein fat ratio. So I
Yeah.
think my body's used to it, but sometimes people will fail it because they're not used to processing that much sugar.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Cause
You're like failing it by being like a good eater.
yeah,
Well,
I mean,
maybe like low carb is probably fine.
you fail the screening. Jim, you won't fail the test if you're like, you know, eating
Oh,
pretty
right.
low carb.
You're gonna fail the screening and have to do
That
it
first
again.
screening. Yeah.
You're like, I wish I failed so I can drink this again.
I know,
Yummy.
it's honestly delicious. I don't know why people complain.
People
That's
complain. I see
embarrassing.
people's like pregnant women's stories on Instagram. They're like, "Oh, glucose test day," and I'm like,
I
"Oh,
know.
have
I
people
know. It
really
does make you
glucose
feel
test?"
bad. Like I came home and had to like I literally canceled dinner plans and had to eat a cheeseburger because I was like I needed
Really?
food.
Yeah.
And then I took it and then I fell asleep. So it did make me feel like that sugar crash afterwards made me feel bad, which I can't imagine like
Yeah.
drinking like sodas are that much sugar.
Oh, can you like people that do that on a daily? It's crazy. So speaking of like just crashing, I mean, how's
Yeah.
like your like fatigue? I mean, are you more tired this time, this
Yeah.
trimester?
Yeah, this trimester for sure. I think that's really the only thing that's happening is my fatigue is it comes back around like that first trimester.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm just like carrying around extra weight and um, you know, hot and tired. And so I can definitely tell my fatigue is catching up with me at the end of the day. Like I'll pass out at the end of the day.
Oh,
Second trimester,
not really pass out, but just
no.
like
No passing
lay
out.
lay
Sarah's
down.
like, "Are you good?" Yeah.
I'm like, but like you're not blacking out. You're just like laying down and letting
No.
Alex serve you.
Yes. No, yeah, he does the nighttime, like takes the puppy out and do all that.
Oh,
Um,
Leo.
so yeah. Oh, we got a puppy for people
Oh,
listening who heard me cry about Rilo's death.
oh my gosh,
Um,
yes. I'm glad you followed it up with this
I know,
because
such good news.
Tink is like the cutest in the whole
Yeah,
world.
Tinker. We got a tiny little black lab
Tinker. And can I
dachshund
tell
puppy.
everybody that Charlotte calls her Tinkle?
Yeah.
And she's like cried the other day 'cause she was like, I want to see
Oh,
Tinkle.
she did. That's
Yeah.
so cute. Well, y'all can come over and come see.
Yeah. She also wants Sam to come over